Holy shiitake mushrooms. H Partners has just bitch slapped Jochen Zeits again. Well, last episode I had on Harley Davidson, and it seems to keep coming. These developments. I noted H Partners had a PDF that they downloaded or uploaded to their website on freetheeagle.com, and that by the time I made the video, it was gone. And this is that. It was only 8 pages, and it was basically, you can go back and review the other video, but it was basically a we want everybody to vote withhold on the upcoming elections for the board. Yesterday, Free the Eagle and H Partners uploaded something to the SEC website, and it's a scorcher. I mean, I think the reason why they took down the original PDF was because they needed something more robust, and boy, have they frickin' delivered it. So this is an 82-page document that you're looking at right here, April of 2025. And I'm not going to go through the whole 82 pages, but I do want to highlight some things. And it seems no one's picked up on what's happening here. At least I haven't seen anything in my feed, so who knows, YouTube algorithms and all. But you'll see here that what they do is they reiterate that they want a withhold for the election. But while this is the aim, what they're doing is they're putting some substance on the suit, if you will. They are really engaging in an argument of why they're doing what they're doing, which they have done kind of before in maybe the Dirterville redacted letter. And then, of course, we had news reports, but you really didn't get much out of it. You kind of got an idea of what was going on. And then if you remember what Harley Davidson did is they basically did a little snarky report, it probably written from Zeits' retreat in Africa, that, hey, Dirterville voted with us the entire time. And, that's a valid critique. However, H Partners is not with you now, and he resigned. So, facts are a bitch. But so there may be some, there might be some sleight of hand going on here, and I do have one critique of H Partners as we go along here. So stay tuned for that. Now, most of what H Partners is doing here, and you'll see this right here, is that what they are engaged in here is a defense of their position, and also how bad Zeits has been just economically and for shareholders in the company. So they go through here, H Partners came in, when they came in, why they came in, and they believed that H Partners did that Harley Davidson, who is their largest investment, so they definitely have a financial interest in Harley Davidson. This is what happens when you have public boards and publicly traded companies. Privates go out the window, and now you have to answer to your investors, which can be a bad thing. I will say it has ruined many a company. So anyway. It's up in the air whether that's going to happen with Harley Davidson, to be honest. And you'll see here, this is on page, I think it's 2 or 3, 6, page 6, that they go through the revenue. This is the revenue stream for Harley Davidson. It's hard to believe that apparel is so low. This is the financial company here. This is the people who carry your loans, credit cards, that type of thing. Look at the LiveWire is just disgusting. And then, a pretty sizable parts and accessories outlet here too. So most of their sales is in motorcycles. Next up is their financial services. Next up is parts and accessories. And then next up, of course, is their apparel line. H Partners goes after this heavy. They go after the apparel line heavy because it's been just a total crap storm over there. They haven't done it's unbelievable. We'll get to that. There's a page somewhere here in this whole report that that deals with this, but that it's basically stagnant and/or declined. Now, most of the pages have to do here with this live wire concept, and when we get to that, I'll explain what I think is happening here. And it's a way for H partners to criticize DEI without criticizing DEI by name, and I'll explain what I mean by that in just a moment. The one thing that H partners lynches everything on is Harley Davidson as an iconic brand. Now, this is all true, and I appreciate H partners for doing this, and I think they're absolutely right. Harley Davidson, anybody who's watching this video is not going to have any quibble with the arguments that they make here, because they're 100% spot on, and they make a case better than Zeits ever did, and not to mention the leadership in the board and in the company, Levinson and Harbinger, that Harley Davidson is an iconic brand that needs to be it needs to be cultivated, not destroyed. And it seems that Jochen Zeits tried to destroy it. And this is what H Partners is doing here. They talk about the loyal customer base that's been alienated. They mention the Harleys and the Davidsons founding the company, the logo, the most tattooed brand in the world. Heck, I'm wearing one of their patches on my shirt here, and of course the hat too. So and then they talk about the dealerships. Now this is very interesting, and this is where I think they get into the one quibble I'm going to have here. If Harley Davidson is an iconic brand, they're different from every other brand of motorcycle out there in that they have their own dealers who, for lack of a better word, pimp their own brand. They believe in the brand. Dealerships are they're one product dealerships. They only sell Harley Davidsons. And other dealerships don't give two craps about what you buy there as long as you buy something. So what H Partners is doing here is they're saying that, look, our whole business model depends on supporting our retail outlets and the people who invest in them. It's not like Harley Davidson sets these things up. People who buy dealerships put their own money into it. And what has been happening is that the dealerships have been going out of business. And this is what H Partners says in the next page on page 9. The dealer balance sheets are hurting. Dealerships are closing, and this is hurting overall sales of Harley Davidson. They describe how and why the dealers have a determined stake and a financial stake in Harley Davidson that Jochen Zeits and the board for the last 20 some odd years has totally crapped upon. And these are the reasons why, because they're community hubs. The dealers are very passionate about the brand. By the way, I know one owner personally who owns 4 dealerships, or maybe 5 now, from West Virginia into Virginia, and now 2 of them here in North Carolina. He loves Harley Davidsons. His entire basement is basically a museum to more or less older Harleys, but he's always going out on club rides and whatnot. I would call him an owner who is pretty much well connected to the industry. And by the way, he's also one of the ones who sent a letter to Jochen Zeits personally saying that he needed to go. He was one of the very few Harley Davidson owners or dealer owners that did that. Now, this is interesting to me. I've been hearing a lot about how people don't want Harleys anymore, but according to, now this is market research, I think, with some hard data. Okay. So what H Partners is saying is that interest in Harley Davidson is not waning. So total motorcycles registered in the United States. This is important because people aren't uninterested in motorcycles anymore. people are still interested in motorcycles. So Harley Davidson is losing market share. Why are they losing market share when you can see here that for the most part, there was a little bit of a lull here in 2010, 2015, 2018, a little dip in 2020. But generally speaking, you could drive an arc right up the bar graph here, and interest or registered motorcycles are increasing. If registered motorcycles are increasing, why is Harley losing market share? The next bar graph, which is very instructive again, are the total number of Harleys registered in the U.S. And while it's been kind of flat here up top, it's not like a significant decline since 2002 to 2024. It's moderate growth. So H Partners is saying that Harley Davidson has not lost their customer base yet. Okay. So what's happened? This is really methodical. What they've done is they've had poor execution. In other words, they are led by a stupid leader. Zeits is just dumb. So Harley Davidson operating income has fallen by 40%. Really, all this stuff is true, but man, that's all you need to know. Now, I'm not going to go through this, but H Partners has a nice graph of when they came in, what they tried to do while they were on the board, and then why they left. Now, once again, H Partners is saying they tried to quietly change the direction of the campaign. And they also note here that that the reason why they're doing this is because Linebarger is saying, hey, no, we just need to delay the looking of the new CEO. And the argument from H Partners is, why the hell should we do that? He's destroyed the company and you want to keep him on even longer? You need to go too, dude. So now here, this is all stock underperformance. This is all true. We went through this a little bit in the last video. And this is no shock, but what they do is they put meat on the bones here. And this is where I have a little bit of a quibble. I don't know if H Partners is got a different definition of what I'm about to talk about, or if they're just a sleight of hand a little bit. But once again, Harley Davidson is an iconic brand. Yes, yes. Now, what Zeits did in order to increase his pay is that he compared his pay to motorcycles and power sports companies. Now, what H Partners is saying here is that's bullshit. We're not a power sports company. Why are you comparing to power sports companies? We're a motorcycle company. That's it. We're not in the power sports arena. This is absolutely 100% true. So what Zeits did is he fraudulently, in some way, tried to say, hey, I'm not getting paid enough, and you need to pay me more because look what everybody's doing over here with all of these other companies. And H Partners is saying that's all bullshit. Essentially, that's all bullshit. Now, what they do here is they compare these companies and say, look, if you're going to compare apples to apples, you need to compare an iconic brand to an iconic brand. All of these companies that they list here are not necessarily apples to apples comparisons. So there's no real correlation, right, to the average of the companies presented below. Over the past 15 years, share price has shown no correlation to the average of the companies below. Now, they note Polaris here, this is my quibble, as not an iconic brand. I'm not so sure that's true. Now, let's say that's true in most of the stuff that they make. When you think of Polaris, you're thinking of snowmobiles and four-wheelers, but they do own Indian, and that is an iconic brand. Now, if you're saying it's not an iconic brand because it took a 50-year hiatus, because it did, it closed shop, then I don't know. Polaris owns Indian, Indian is a part of Polaris Inc. And yeah, they're an iconic brand. So it would be nice to see that comparison. So anyway, they're not comparing themselves to peer groups, or at least Zeits didn't. So anyway, I think that's probably enough said. Now, the next thing, he goes through what Zeits has done and how he has basically driven the company into into this crisis. Inventory of bikes and used bike pricing. It has been a burden upon the dealerships to carry not only one, new bikes with an inventory that won't sell, but two, to have this laden problem with used bikes that don't move. Essentially, what's happening is H Partners is saying nothing's moving, and Zeits is doing nothing about it. As a matter of fact, he seems to care less and less about it. Now, despite all this, you can see that there is some movement here. Now, these are sales, and they're declining over time. So remember back a few pages, H Partners is saying that Harley Davidson, the interest in motorcycles is increasing. That it's not like people aren't buying them. People are registering them. Interest in Harley Davidsons hasn't really waned, but there's a disconnect here in that sales are completely falling off the board. And now we got some real numbers here to sort of demonstrate that. This is just unbelievably. This is where he talks about the apparel part of the company. What has happened at Harley Davidson is that most of the people who held on to the leadership have left. They've resigned. Under Zeits, they've resigned. And this is Zeits' example of how he's going to increase the growth in apparel, so to speak. I didn't know he did this. But if this is his representation, this sort of androgynous thing going on here, no, that's not the Harley community, bitch. Zeits has got to be one of the most incompetent CEOs I've ever run across in any company that I've invested in. And as you know, I'm a Harley shareholder. So, and I own a Harley, and I wrench on Harley. So, Zeits is just, are you attracted to this? I mean, seriously, if you're a Harley guy and you see this as an ad campaign, are you going to be like, hey man, that's totally bitchin'? Yeah, no. I highly doubt it. Now, I'm not going to go over this. They spend pages and pages on this, and we're already into page 25. But let's discuss the Livewire here, the electric motorcycle, the Livewire. They go through pages and pages of this on the Livewire and the Hardwire, and how it has just been a completely an utter failure. Let me give you an example of something. It is this part. Remember, I showed you in the last video how to get to this. This is Harley Davidson's page. This is live. This is right now. And I noted when Robbie Starbuck said that, hey, DEI's totally gone at Harley, it was all a complete lie. How do I know that? Because of the stakeholder approach. Look what they say. I pointed out that they're for ESG, environmental, social, and governance. Embedded in environmental, social, and governance is DEI. DEI is a part of that. But there is still this commitment, while Zeits has still been there, to something called, if you look at it right here, I don't need to go very far, making a positive impact in our communities and creating a path to net zero. Okay? Now, path to net zero is a part of DEI. Okay? And a part of a path to net zero, that is a part of ESG. DEI is a part of ESG. So is like saving the planet a part of ESG. It's like environmental responsibility. That's why it's environmental, then social, which is DEI, and then governance. So path to net zero. I believe that H Partners, when they talk about the Livewire, and the electric motorcycle, they are talking that is the hit on DEI. That is the hit on ESG. The Livewire is the electric motorcycle is a complete green woke concoction of Zeitz's, which has failed miserably. So whenever they talk about this without mentioning DEI, they're really going after ESG, which is the whole kit and caboodle. H Partners should be commended for this. This is brilliant. And while I wish they were a little harder on the DEI stuff and the ESG governance stuff, that they go on for pages and pages against Zeits and the rest of the leadership team is perfect. So what they're doing is they're going after the actual practices from the senior leadership right now. Okay, so Zeits is an absent CEO. He has made comments that he's failed to deliver upon. That sounds like reason for firing to me. Usually CEOs get fired when they don't do that. The leadership has turned over, which we've already mentioned. Earnings has been destroyed. Capital allocation destroyed. Disappearing and declining key metrics. That would be like internal stuff and also production. And then closure of the headquarters, which is just unbelievable. So I love this. So H Partners is playing a real nice game here. What you see here is the headquarters of Harley Davidson and then where Jochen Zeits lives. Dude ain't present. The dude ain't present. Here's some meat on the bones of all the people who have departed or quit under Zeits. I mean, this is whenever you see something like this, by the way, then especially if it happens over time, you have a tyrant running the company. That's just a fact. And now, if you have a tyrant running the company and they're successful, that's one thing. But if you have a tyrant running the company and everybody's leaving, that's another thing. Stay tuned for the end here. As a matter of fact, I might skip to it so I don't make this too long. But I encourage you to go through this. You can see all the declining in revenue, sales, operating income, the decline in profit per bike. I mean, this is just devastating. Quarterly shareholder reports, quarterly shareholder reports going all the way back to 2023. His hardwire strategy. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to say this is worth note. Almost forgot about this. H Partners is claiming that we need to bring back an entry level bike. You know what, H Partners? Damn good on you. I mean, this is exactly right. So I like the goal here. Harley needs to, Harley needs to bring back the Sportster. I mean, it doesn't have to be in the same form it was, but they got to bring it back. They got to bring back an entry-level bike. It's a smaller bike. It's a good entry-level bike, but it's also good to have a second bike around. Just for smaller trips or something like that, knocking around town. Harley doesn't have a bike like that anymore. So good, very good on H Partners for talking about the Sportster. So I totally agree. Here's a this is brilliant politics right here. Look at Harley Davidson headquarters on, it's my left. Totally headquarters is totally packed. Headquarters, while Zeits has been there, is totally empty. I mean, what kind of a creep idiot has been running this company? It's just unbelievable. Now, I want to go to the end here. They really go after Linebarger, by the way. You would enjoy some of that stuff. I'm going to skip to the end, and the reason for that is because of time. There's once again, Zeits, Linebarger, and Levinson. All three of these people should go. They're incompetent. They talk about the next CEO and their the kind of qualities they're looking for in a new CEO. I can't disagree with any of this. But I do want to, if you remember, at the end of my last video, there was a place there that you could go to their website that I noted, that you could leave an anonymous commentary. And you know what? Let me just pick out a few here. Zeits is out of touch with his customer and clearly has no interest in the iconic American brand other than to use it as a piggy bank for his expensive hobbies while shareholders continue to suffer. Absolutely. As a shareholder, I would say that. Everybody wants him to leave. There's one here from, here we go. It's time someone with leverage took a stand against Jochen Zeits. As a former employee under Jochen's leadership, no one really solicited input of what the main challenges were for the company. They just started blindly making assumptions, followed by pretty bad decisions and executing orders. If you disagreed with him or even appeared to maybe disagree with him, you'd be fired. Many left out of frustration before we could forcibly be complicit in destroying an iconic brand of the company. More of them say that they would kill the brand. Jochen rarely comes to Milwaukee. In fact, the corporate headquarters on Juneau Avenue have been 90% vacant since COVID. It's a parking lot turned into a park. Jochen's absence, the way he speaks in all employee meetings, lack both compensation and development structure for the employees, communicates a spirit of I don't care. This has come to define the culture in the company. I believe HD needs a culture hire for their next CEO. It should come from someone with a determined spirit who will define and exemplify both winning attitude and hopefulness that things will turn around. There's many comments like this. I would not pick anybody who came into the leadership under Zeits. There's a guy by the last name of Root. I would not pick him. He is Zeitz's hand-chosen successor. And that right there is disqualifying. We need a Davidson to come in, maybe. How about that? Someone from the Harley family. How about that? Someone who understands this company. H Partners is the only way that this is going to be able to happen. I wish them the best of luck. H Partners, you have my support. Hang loose.